Welcome, gents. You were never meant to fit in. You were built to stand out in silence. Being a Sigma male isn't about being better than everyone else. It's about being built differently, wired to think deeper, move quieter, and live on your own terms. You're not interested in leading the crowd or following it. You've got your own pace, your own lane, and most importantly, your own reasons. That alone makes you rare. This world often rewards noise, flash, and popularity, but you choose peace over praise, growth over comfort, and truth over approval. You're the kind of man who would rather be misunderstood than be fake. You're the one who walks away from the spotlight, not because you can't handle it, but because it distracts from the work that really matters. That takes guts most people don't have. These 11 uncomfortable things aren't habits you picked up by chance. They're part of what sets you apart. Actions most men avoid because they're too tied to validation, too scared of solitude, or too caught up in looking successful instead of being it. You, on the other hand, are playing a longer game. You're choosing the hard road not to prove a point, but because it's the only one that leads to something real. So, if you've ever felt out of place, questioned why you can't tolerate surface-level living, or wondered why you'd rather walk away from what others would cling to, you're not broken, you're a Sigma. And that's not just a title, it's a mindset, a path, and a quiet kind of strength that doesn't need permission to exist. Let's dive in. Number 1, regularly destroy and rebuild their own identity. Most people find a version of themselves that feels comfortable and camp out there forever. Same opinions, same habits, same jokes from 2009. But a Sigma male, he's not here for comfort, he's here for growth. And growth, real growth, feels a lot like tearing your own house down just to rebuild it stronger. Sigma males don't get stuck in who they used to be. In fact, they regularly outgrow versions of themselves like worn-out clothes. They'll look in the mirror one day and say, yep, this version of me has expired, then toss him out and start again. No announcement, no parade, no social media post saying, new era, new me. It's a brutal process. It means calling yourself out when nobody else will. It means admitting you were wrong, cringing at your own past behavior, and facing the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. And yet Sigma males do this on purpose. It's not a crisis, it's a habit. They treat their identity like software, constantly updating, patching bugs, removing features that don't serve them anymore. One week they're laser-focused on business. Next week they've gone full monk mode. No phone, no nonsense, just books and workouts. And the world's confused, but the Sigma male isn't. He's just reprogramming. And here's where it gets interesting. They often go through these changes quietly. No dramatic breakdowns, no rock-bottom speech, just internal demolition and silent rebuilds. It's like watching a man burn his old self down with a match and walk away from the ashes whistling like nothing happened. But don't mistake the calm for ease. This is hard. It's uncomfortable to reinvent yourself when nobody's pushing you to. But Sigma males don't wait for life to shake them. They shake themselves. Because staying the same feels like dying slowly. And for a Sigma male, that's way scarier than any reinvention. Number 2, work in obscurity with zero need for recognition. Some people need a stage. They won't even start unless there's applause waiting at the end. But Sigma males? They'll work for years in total silence. No spotlight, no likes, no one clapping. Just them, their craft, and an almost obsessive focus that most people will never understand. While others are out trying to get noticed, Sigma males are deep in the trenches, learning, building, testing, failing, repeating. And the craziest part, they're not doing it to show off later. They genuinely love the process more than the praise. For them, success isn't about being seen, it's about becoming. These are the types who spend nights perfecting a skill no one even knows they have. They'll study something for a year and never talk about it. No humble brags, no watch me work energy, just silent grind mode. Why? Because validation from others doesn't move them. Mastery does. You won't see their work on display until it's bulletproof, and by then, it speaks so loudly they don't have to. Sigma males believe in building in the dark so the results shine on their own. They don't care if no one's watching today. They're too busy becoming someone that can't be ignored tomorrow. It's not easy. Working in obscurity means fighting self-doubt without cheerleaders. It means grinding while others laugh, wonder, or overlook you entirely. But a Sigma male doesn't crumble, he tightens up. Because when you're not addicted to applause, you're free to create without limits. And when the results finally do surface, People will think it happened overnight. They'll call it talent or luck. But Sigma males know better. It was quiet discipline, forged in private, that made the difference. They don't chase recognition, they chase excellence. And they know the ones who win in silence often roar the loudest when it counts. Number 3, reject loyalty that isn't rooted in respect. To most people, loyalty is sacred, but to a Sigma male, respect comes first. Loyalty without respect, that's just control wearing a nice outfit. And Sigma males aren't fooled by nice-sounding words or fake promises. If someone's loyalty is rooted in guilt, fear, obligation, or manipulation, the Sigma will walk away without a second thought, and maybe even light a match on the way out. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of people stay loyal for the wrong reasons. They stick around because they're scared, they want something in return, or they've been emotionally blackmailed into believing they owe someone their loyalty. But not the Sigma. If the connection isn't real, if it isn't grounded in mutual respect, he'll cut ties, no matter how long the relationship's been around, and that's what sets him apart. He doesn't care how many years you've known each other, what you've been through, or what title you hold in his life. If you treat him like he's beneath you, use guilt to control him, or assume he'll always be there no matter how you act, think again. The Sigma male will surprise you with silence and distance, fast. This makes people uncomfortable because they expect loyalty to be automatic, especially from quiet types. But a Sigma isn't quiet because he's weak. He's quiet because he's watching. And when he sees that someone's loyalty is just a leash in disguise, he walks away, free, clean, and without regret. Because for a Sigma male, loyalty without respect is nothing but a trap. He doesn't want people who stick around out of habit or fear. He wants people who choose to stay because they see him clearly and respect who he is. And if they can't offer that, he won't fight for them. He'll just disappear, not out of anger, but out of principle. That's what real strength looks like. Number 4, hold standards that make them difficult. Let's get one thing straight. Sigma males aren't difficult. They're uncompromising. But in a world where bending is the default, standing firm makes you look like a problem. He's not picky. He's precise. He knows exactly what aligns with his values, his peace, and his purpose. And if that makes him too much, then so be it. He'll take that label with pride while others drown in mediocrity trying to be agreeable. You won't catch him lowering his standards just to fit in or to make people comfortable. If the job is shady, the friendship fake, the relationship forced, or the opportunity laced with manipulation, he's out. No drama, no need to explain himself, just a quiet no and a door closing. And that's the part people don't like. Because the Sigma male doesn't negotiate with nonsense. He doesn't play the but it's good enough game. He doesn't water down his boundaries to avoid conflict. And he definitely doesn't subscribe to, well, at least you have something. If it doesn't match his code, it's gone. This is exactly why he's seen as a threat in environments built on conformity. Offices, social circles, family systems, anywhere that expects silence, compliance, or smiling through discomfort. He stands out like a fire alarm in a library. Loud, clear, unignorable. And here's the funny twist. Deep down, people respect it. They may call him stubborn, difficult, or too serious, but that's just code for I wish I had the guts to do what he's doing. His standards aren't walls, they're filters. They keep the nonsense out and the quality in. And yes, it makes life a bit lonelier sometimes. But for the Sigma male, loneliness with integrity is always better than companionship with compromise. So if he's labeled difficult, let them talk. That just means he hasn't made himself small to fit where he doesn't belong. And honestly, that's a power most people will never know. Number 5, invest in boring, unsexy discipline. Most people want quick results. They want the body without the workout, the wealth without the grind, the success without the boring parts. But Sigma males, they don't play that game. They invest in what most people run from, boring, unsexy discipline, the kind that doesn't get claps, the kind that doesn't look good on social media, but the kind that actually works. While the world chases motivation like it's a magic pill, Sigma males quietly become machines. They show up when it's inconvenient. They repeat the same hard task day after day, not because they feel like it, but because they've decided it matters. They're not chasing dopamine, they're chasing progress. It's not glamorous. Waking up early, studying in silence, training without an audience, working when no one's watching. It's a grind most people can't stomach. Why? Because it's uncomfortable, repetitive, and sometimes soul-crushing. But Sigma males thrive in that exact space. That quiet, brutal rhythm, that's where they grow. There are no shortcuts in their world, no hacks, no trendy tricks to optimize everything. Just consistency, sweat, and a mental toughness most people never develop. Because Sigma males understand one brutal truth. Discipline is the foundation everything is built on, and it's not supposed to feel good. While others complain about being tired or bored, the Sigma just keeps going. He doesn't need hype music or a motivational speech. His routine is his mindset. That's what makes him dangerous. He keeps moving even when there's no praise, no validation, no immediate payoff. Over time, this boring discipline becomes something unbreakable. It forges patience, it sharpens focus, and it builds the kind of quiet strength that can't be faked or rushed. People won't understand how he got so good at what he does, because they weren't around for the thousands of unseen, uncelebrated reps. The Sigma male doesn't wait for inspiration. He builds momentum through action. That's what separates him from the rest. While others chase results, he marries the process. Number 6. Reject mentorship from people they don't respect. Let's be honest, the world is full of people who love giving advice, whether or not they've actually achieved anything worth listening to. Everyone wants to be a mentor these days, but a Sigma male? He's not impressed by titles, followers, or flashy success. If he doesn't genuinely respect you, your mind, your values, your work ethic, he's not interested in your mentorship, period. And he won't fake it either. No forced smiles, no polite nodding while secretly tuning you out. If you're all bark and no wisdom, he'll smell it from a mile away. You could be a CEO, a life coach, or someone who reads one self-help book and suddenly thinks they've unlocked the secrets of the universe. The Sigma male still won't follow you if your character doesn't match your talk. He's not trying to be difficult. He just doesn't do blind obedience. He needs substance. If your advice is all theory and zero experience, pass. If you're preaching discipline but can't even keep your own life in order, hard pass. The Sigma male wants mentors who walk their talk, who lead with integrity, and who can actually teach something real, not just flex. This makes him stand out. A lot of people will attach themselves to someone just because they're popular or successful. But the Sigma, he'll walk the longer, lonelier path if it means keeping his standards intact. He's not trying to be anyone's disciple, he's trying to grow. And for that, he needs depth, not hype. What's funny is, this confuses people. They think he's arrogant or that he doesn't listen. But it's not that, he does listen, just not to noise. He listens to wisdom, to truth, to actions that match words. If you've earned his respect, he'll learn from you like a sponge. If not, well, don't be surprised if he quietly disappears mid-conversation, because to a Sigma male, real mentorship isn't about status, it's about substance. And if that's missing, he's out. Number 7, value privacy over praise. A lot of people are addicted to attention. They want to be seen, liked, reposted, and applauded for even the smallest wins. But the Sigma male, he's built differently. Praise doesn't motivate him. In fact, too much of it makes him uncomfortable. For him, privacy isn't just a preference, it's a power source. While others are busy curating highlight reels, he's quietly building a life nobody knows the details of. He doesn't need an audience clapping for him to stay focused. He doesn't crave validation, he craves freedom. And freedom for a Sigma begins where the spotlight ends. He's not hiding, let's be clear. He's just not interested in putting himself on display. He values a life that's his, not one constantly filtered through other people's opinions. That's why you won't catch him oversharing or chasing praise. He understands that the more people know, the more they feel entitled to have a say. And he's not giving anyone that kind of access. It's not about being mysterious for show. It's about protecting what matters. His plans, his struggles, his inner world. That's sacred territory. If he achieves something big, he doesn't need a parade. Half the time, he won't even tell you it happened. You'll just notice one day that he's leveled up, silently. People often mistake this for arrogance or antisocial behavior. But the truth is, the Sigma male simply doesn't tie his self-worth to external applause. He's not performing for anyone. He's too busy living with intention, moving in silence, and keeping his peace intact. The irony, his quiet confidence ends up being more magnetic than any attention seeker could ever be. People are drawn to the mystery, the discipline, the strength that doesn't need a stage. Because while others are shouting, "Look at me," The Sigma male is whispering, "Watch what I do." And then he disappears back into his world where the real magic happens, far from the noise and exactly how he likes it. Number 8. Sigma males don't compete with other men. In a world where most men are constantly measuring who's stronger, richer, louder, more dominant, the Sigma male walks right past all of it like it's background noise. He doesn't enter the arena of ego contests, chest puffing, or who's got the better watch energy. Not because he's scared to compete, but because he sees the game for what it really is. Pointless noise. While other men are trying to one-up each other in conversations, careers, gyms, or even relationships, the Sigma male is somewhere else entirely, mentally and emotionally checked out of that nonsense. He doesn't care about being alpha, doesn't want your throne, and doesn't need validation from other men to know his worth. That alone throws people off. You ever see someone so calm, so uninterested in proving themselves that it makes the room go quiet? That's a Sigma. He's not trying to win. And that's exactly what makes him so dangerous, because his power doesn't come from attention, status, or dominance. It comes from self-control. He doesn't need to outshine you. He just needs to be aligned with himself. That's why he's unaffected when someone tries to show off or provoke competition. He won't take the bait. You can flex, name drop, or talk about how many hours you grind. He'll just raise an eyebrow and carry on because none of it impresses him. And here's where it gets hilarious. Men who crave hierarchy hate this. They don't know what to do with someone who refuses to play. They try to pull him in, test him, challenge him, and he just doesn't respond. His silence becomes unsettling, his detachment unnerving. It's like trying to arm wrestle a ghost. To the Sigma male, true strength is quiet. It's not about outdoing someone else, it's about outgrowing who he was yesterday. So while other men are fighting for first place in a race he never entered, he's building something deeper, more permanent, on his own terms. Number 9, treat friendships like contracts that expire. To a Sigma male, friendships aren't some lifetime subscription you're stuck with. They're more like contracts. They have terms, conditions, and yes, expiration dates. If the vibe's gone, the values don't match, or the energy starts to drain instead of fuel him, he'll end it quietly, cleanly. No drama, no fireworks, just done. He's not being cold-hearted. He's being clear-headed. He knows people grow, change, shift. Some friendships serve their purpose and fade out naturally. But instead of forcing small talk for another 5 years or hanging on out of guilt, the Sigma male does what most people don't have the courage to do. He lets go. He's not the ride-or-die type if the ride turns toxic. He won't hold on to someone just because they've been around forever. Forever means nothing if the connection is shallow, disrespectful, or out of sync. And trust. If someone starts treating the friendship like a one-way street, the Sigma male won't argue. He'll just exit, quietly, swiftly, like a ghost with standards. This rattles people, especially those who rely on loyalty without accountability. They assume just because you've shared a few good years or childhood memories, you'll tolerate anything, not with a Sigma. His loyalty ends where his self-respect begins. And the best part? He doesn't need a big breakup speech. There's no "we need to talk" moment. If you've been cut off, chances are you'll figure it out after you've sent that third unanswered text. It's not personal, it's principled, because the Sigma male treats his time and energy like currency. If you're not bringing value, respect, or growth to the table, you're not staying at the table. Simple as that. So if you've got a Sigma male in your life, don't mistake his silence for confusion. It's often closure. And if you're still in his circle, count your blessings, because once that contract ends, there are no renewals, no promotions, just a man who knows when to walk away and doesn't need to slam the door on his way out. Number 10, prioritize impact over likability. Here's something most people will never admit: being liked is overrated. The Sigma female figured that out a long time ago, while others are twisting themselves into human pretzels trying to be agreeable, charming, and not too much. She's out here choosing impact over approval every single time. She doesn't lose sleep wondering if people find her sweet, friendly, or easy to digest. That's not the game she's playing. Likability is for politicians and people pleasers. She's more interested in making the kind of moves that actually matter, moves that challenge people, wake them up, and leave a mark. Not everyone will clap, but she's not here for applause. She's here for results. She'll speak the truth, even if her voice makes people uncomfortable. She'll make tough decisions that ruffle feathers. She'll set standards so high they scare off the mediocre. And you know what? She's totally okay with that. Why? Because impact doesn't always come with hugs and handshakes. Sometimes it comes with silence, resistance, or flat-out rejection. You might not like her, but you'll never forget her. While others are collecting compliments and fake smiles, she's collecting clarity, real progress, and respect. The kind of respect that doesn't need to be spoken out loud because people feel it when she walks into a room. She's not trying to be the most liked. She's trying to be the most honest, effective, and unshakable version of herself. Now, is it lonely sometimes? Sure. But she'd rather walk alone with a clear conscience than be surrounded by people who only love her when she's agreeable. That's the Sigma code. Likability fades. But impact, that's legacy. So if you're still trying to be liked by everyone, take a page from her book. Stop shrinking to fit in. Stop editing yourself for applause. Start making waves. Because the ones who shake the world aren't always the ones who get the most likes. They're the ones who dare to be real. Number 11. Let others misunderstand them without correction. The matrix is built to track movement, physical, digital, and mental. It doesn't just want to know where you are, it wants to know how you think, what side you're on, what beliefs you've subscribed to. It needs to place you in a category so it can predict your next step, feed you targeted content, and mold your behavior. But the Sigma male doesn't make that easy. Even if he lives in one city his whole life, his mind is always in motion. He doesn't settle into one belief system, one worldview, one ideological camp. He stays mentally nomadic, always observing, questioning, evolving, never rooted too deep into one way of thinking that it becomes a cage. That's what makes him so hard to map. He might listen to ideas from both ends of the spectrum, but commit to neither. He can understand multiple points of view without being owned by any of them. One day he's reading philosophy, the next he's learning a new trade, the next he's unplugged in silence, thinking for himself. The matrix doesn't know what to do with that. It thrives on clear labels: liberal, conservative, activist, rebel, loyalist, influencer, follower. But the Sigma male doesn't wear any of those tags, and when he does borrow from a system, he never stays long enough to be converted. You can't manipulate someone whose mind is too free to sit still. That's why the system can't track him. Not just physically, but ideologically. His beliefs can't be boxed. His values weren't downloaded. They were earned through experience and reflection. He doesn't need to move countries to be untraceable. His mind moves faster than any algorithm. And in a world where everyone is mentally anchored to trends, headlines, and outrage cycles, the Sigma male's fluid mind is his true escape pod. He's not just hard to find, he's impossible to follow. In final words, being a Sigma male isn't about fitting in, it's about standing apart, embracing the uncomfortable, and thriving in spaces most won't dare enter. These 11 uncomfortable things aren't just quirks. They're a testament to the strength, self-awareness, and relentless pursuit of something deeper than most are willing to explore. Every time a Sigma male walks away from a good situation, says no without hesitation, or destroys his own comfort zone, he's doing something most people would avoid at all costs. He's choosing growth. While others settle for what's easy or comfortable, he's constantly searching for ways to reinvent himself, challenge the status quo, and align his life with purpose. The truth is, the uncomfortable things Sigma males do aren't about rejecting the world, they're about rejecting anything that doesn't align with their highest potential. They know that staying in their comfort zone or following the herd isn't going to make them the best version of themselves. And no, it's not always easy, but it's a hell of a lot more rewarding than choosing to fit in and play it safe. So if you recognize some of these uncomfortable traits in yourself, take it as a sign. You're not just different for the sake of being different. You're carving your own path, one that requires strength, resilience, and a refusal to conform. That's what makes you a Sigma male. And while the world may not always understand your choices or your need for independence, don't let that deter you. Keep breaking your own molds, keep seeking the truth, and most importantly, keep doing the work that others are too afraid to do, because in the end, it's not about being liked or understood. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. You are a force, and that's what makes you unstoppable. Keep moving forward. Thank you for watching, gents, and God bless you.